did you do this to me?
You did this to yourself, Michael.
No, I didn't want to waste all that time. I didn't want to lose Donna.
The remote goes by your behavior. Every time you had a conflict between work and home, work won.
No, not true.
Lie to your wife, lie to yourself. But you cannot lie to the remote. The remote is lie-proof, so you can't change what already happened, but you're still a young man. Young fat man. You could win Donna back.
So that's what I'll do.
Yeah, I don't even know what to add to that, so is this a good spot where I can just try out my Walken impression?
Well, we know your Loja impression is pretty spot on. We know your Steven Seagal impression is pretty spot on. I think I would agree with that. We'll see if the listeners do, but why don't you throw it out there? We'll see. We'll leave it up to the listeners.
Well, Drew, if you lie to yourself, lie to your wife, you can't lie to the remote. The remote sees all.
You guys can't see him right now, but he was also doing the dance from Fatboy Slim video as he was doing that. So if we had video, we could show you that. But he was doing that. I thought it was good.
I don't know, I put myself out there, but like I feel like I did it better 2 hours ago when no one was listening, and I did it myself. So maybe like I should just have cameras and audio recordings on my person at all times.
You're gonna live in the Truman Show over there. That's what we want.
Oh, you don't want to see
the Badway show.
My show. It's just a lot of watching, Entourage for the 5th time, and It's Always Sunny for the 3rd time.
Yeah, this week.
Just go through season rewatches of Entourage. That's all it is.
Oh my gosh. Well, welcome back. This is episode 132.
132
of the Last Row Podcast. If you are new to the show, or if you're returning, check our website out, thelastrowpodcast.com. Follow us on all the social channels. Our username is @thelastrowpod. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to look for us. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Consider subscribing, and if you're enjoying the show, please leave a 5-star review. Thanks to everybody that did so far. I'm excited to be doing this movie. It's suddenly one of my favorite movies.
Favorite? You sure about that?
Yeah.
Favorite movies?
No, it's not. It's not.
Hyperbole much. Sure.
It's a fun movie. I don't know. Why don't you hit us up?
I had to call you out on it. It may be one of your favorite Sandler movies. I'll give you that.
All right. We'll see. We'll see by the end of this whole thing.
That's fair. Click. We're doing Click if we didn't say that already. June 23rd, 2006. Were you in the movie business in 2006?
I was, and I'm pretty sure.
Were you well past it? You were still in it, weren't you?
I was in the heat of it. I was in the heat of the movie business. I think I was. Were you too, right, at this time?
Oh yeah, I was deep in it.
We were deep in it. It was hot and steamy at that time.
Oh yeah. So do you have any memories of this, or like do you feel different now watching this as you did back then?
I do. Well, I have good memories of it, and I mean, I did kind of say it was one of my favorite movies. I like this movie a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite Sandler movies. I do think it's overlooked, but I feel like this movie's not so much about Sandler and more about the concept of the movie. Like, he's good in it. Obviously, he's really good, but it's got a good cast of characters, and I feel like the concept is good. I mean, it's ultimately a Christmas Carol, right? That's essentially what this movie is.
Yeah.
Or something else. I saw it was like based on a R.L. Stein Goosebumps book and all that other stuff, or some type of similar story. But I remember watching this, and I feel like it hit me at that moment. I was like, oh man, you don't want to let your life like slip away. And now that I'm, the age that we are right now, you watch this movie a little bit differently. And you always say to me, and everyone knows this who listens to this show, Badway's top quote to me is, "Don't click your life away."
Don't click your life away, man. Don't click your life away.
And I think this movie resonates, man.
Enjoy the little things.
There's not a lot of movies that I shed a tear in at that time, but this was one that got me a little bit. And it's especially on rewatch here, got me.
Yeah. So like I've shed a tear in the past when he's like dying on the hospital road, but this time watching it, I kind of thought it was a bit funny. It seemed ridiculous.
It was kind of funny.
It seemed a bit ridiculous, but I have been emotional in that scene in the past. It's just a matter of where and when it hits you, I guess. Him
and Winkler was the one that really got me. It was
when he yelled his dad, oh my God.
That really got me. This movie, it makes you feel something. I mean, I know it's Adam Sandler, but I do feel like it has a good message, and I think it's well acted, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not Adam Sandler. It's definitely not that Adam Sandler.
It's got a little bit of that Sandler,
but a tiny bit.
I liked it though. I think it's a good movie.
Runtime 1 hour 47 minutes.
Maybe a little too high.
Let's shave a cool 20 off this, can we?
Yeah,
Can we shave a cool 20?
20.
I don't know where, but let's shave a cool 20.
Oh man, I think it's fine. It's maybe slightly too high.
Yeah. Yeah, at least, I feel like Adam Sandler movies can run 2+, so I think we're lucky at 147.
Anything higher would have been too high.
Yeah. A comedy, dramedy, a fantasy movie.
It's a fantasy. I had a fantasy while watching.
Directed by Frank, Don't Call Me Stacy Karachi.
Return of Karachi, right?
Yeah, what do you know about Karachi? We just did a Karachi movie, didn't we?
I know we did Wedding Singer, episode 99, I believe, right?
Yeah. And as we, David Dugan, I believe, who directed Problem Child, we did 2 episodes ago.
Dugan.
Dennis Dugan. Who cares? Dennis, David, same guy.
How dare you?
We called him Adam Sandler's personal director, which is actually a lie. Frank Karachi is the other Adam Sandler personal director. So if one didn't do it, the other did it. It's kind of funny.
He had plastic hair. He was the doctor or the nurse in the future scene when he was getting out of the bed before you had the laugh when he was dying in the streets.
Yeah, I had no idea what he looked like. IMDb 6.4 out of 10.
It's just about right to me.
Fair. Rotten Tomato 34%. Too low. Metacritic 45%.
Too low.
Fair. Letterboxd 2.8 out of 5.
Too low.
That's fair.
I'm going 3.
Tough but fair.
I'm going 3.
You're too generous.
2.8 versus
2.8 is perfect. 2.8 is perfect.
You can't give those points.
You don't know what you're talking about. A workaholic architect finds a universal remote that allows him to fast forward and rewind to different parts of his life. Complications arise when the remote starts to overrule his choices.
He found the remote, or he was gifted it?
Well, he found it.
He found it.
He went looking. He went looking for a remote, and he found more than he could chew. Is that the saying?
He found more than he bargained
found more
for.
than he can chew. Yeah.
Yeah, he got more than he bargained for.
He got out of the kitchen because he couldn't stand the heat, or he stayed in the kitchen, but he couldn't. Forget it.
I think like the idea, and maybe, I don't know, I'm just going to say this now because like talk about him finding the remote. Like, was he procrastinating for his job? Because you have to be so mad. You pulled an all-nighter before? You ever pulled like an all-nighter?
Of course.
Do you get out of the house and like go to Bed Bath & Beyond to like get something in the middle of doing the all-nighter?
No, he had to watch the video.
But he couldn't find a way to play this video at all?
He could have asked his wife. Now, I thought the scene was ridiculous when he thought that the remote, like the airplane control was the TV remote. That's a little slapsticky, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's clearly not the TV remote.
Like, imagine taking your Xbox controller thinking that was going to turn on your CRT.
Yeah. I don't know. But in 2006, I don't know, like, the TV was kind of outdated, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he's not a tech guy. He likes to draw pictures for a living.
Come on.
Apparently he draws or colors or something for a living.
He's coloring books.
So I guess maybe that's why But no, he needed to watch the TV. He couldn't figure out how to do it. So he's like, I'm sick of this shit. He went to Bed Bath & Beyond.
I don't know. And then when I get back, though, I'm not doing work. I don't want to watch the movie. I'm done. I'm going to bed.
And why is he going to Bed Bath & Beyond? Like, he looked for Best Buy. Great choice. Right. Yeah. Closed. I forget what was next. Staples. Closed. Which I wouldn't go to Staples for that kind of stuff anyways. No. So he pulls into Bed Bath & Beyond. Where's the Walmart?
Yeah, where's Walmart?
Where's the Target? Like, I would not go to Bed Bath & Beyond for anything. You go to Bed Bath & Beyond, it's like the Wild West of things, right?
It is.
You go into Bed Bath & Beyond, it's like a 1 hour ordeal to find what you're looking for.
When he would have came out with something else.
Yeah, unless you're looking for a bedspread or towels, which are obvious where they're at.
They do have they did before they went for Chapter 11 or whatever the heck's going on, and as of June 2023 here. But like they do have a lot of random stuff. It's because you get the 20% coupon. That's why you go there.
I'm not saying they don't have it. I'm just saying it's a jungle in there for random things.
That's true.
That aren't silverware or garbage cans or towels.
That's true. Yeah. And with Bed Bath & Beyond, do you remember, I don't remember the last time I was in there, but that store it's like an IKEA, and that you have to walk through specific sections to get somewhere else. Whereas if you walk in Walmart, it's like, or Target.
That's
or whatever,
what I'm saying.
right?
Like if the Walmart was, I don't know, an extra 7 minutes down the road, he was better off passing the Bed Bath & Beyond to go to the Walmart instead of navigating the damn Bed Bath & Beyond, which apparently he spent 40 years in.
Yeah, exactly. So he woke up 40 years later as a corpse. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, okay. Well, we have to talk about the remote in a second. Let's go through these taglines. There's only 3 here. The first one, The remote is in control.
Oh,
It's a good pun.
Not bad.
I don't know if it's a pun. I guess it's good. It's good play.
It's a play on words. It's a play.
All right. How about? See, I like to put click and then say colon, and that makes no sense for this one. But click colon everything will click.
Everything will
Click everything will. What if you had a universal remote that controlled your universe?
Your universe.
Don't give me a question on the poster.
Your universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not fair. Sometimes questions, but not this question.
Not this question. This is a weak question. I think I'm going with click everything will. Everything will click.
Ridiculous. The remote is in control is the correct answer.
This thing, $82 million budget with a 240 estimated return on this thing. It's kind of a big deal.
60 million of it was probably Sandler's salary.
Yeah, probably.
Like he probably
exactly.
commanded 30 mil for this movie.
The special effects in this too.
And we got into I forget, like I don't know the answer, but we got into this before in another movie. Like, is the budget, does that factor in the actors?
I think it does. I do.
So yeah, I bet like he probably made 30 mil in this movie.
He probably did.
That was his quote,
Well, there was a lot of big names in this too.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale, he was in it. Winkler's in it. Christopher Walken was in it too, right? That's the big star power in this movie.
Oh yeah, but Beckinsale and Winkler, Walken are probably combined like maybe 5 million, if that.
Sandler was riding high at this point.
Yeah,
2006.
Yeah. Even if he did a bad job, still got his quote.
I'd have to look at his IMDb to see where he went after this, but I feel like this was peak Sandler for me. If I'm being honest, it was like peak Sandler because all these other movies came out in, I don't know, it was like a few years before that.
Yeah.
But I feel like this one was 2006. You said earlier, right? That's right before it started kind of getting weird.
Right. Well, it's funny. I was gonna segue right into his career a little bit here. I mean, we spoke about it briefly on our, or maybe not so briefly, on our Wedding Singer, episode 99, I believe that is. Please go back and take a look. But no, it's right in the middle of it. He was not declining after this yet. What do you think is his highest grossing movie of all time?
Highest grossing?
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, the answer is Hotel Transylvania. Transylvania. But that's not. I'm not counting that. I'm not counting that because all three of them grossed like 1.4 billion combined, which is like an absurd number. And I didn't know those movies were that popular. But what's his most popular live action movie of all time, like gross wise, money making wise?
I feel like it's if I said something like, I want to say like Mr. Deeds. It's a guess.
Yeah,
it's a guess.
I would tell you that it's not what you think it is, but it's not Deeds.
Is it
Pixel.
Waterboy?
It's Pixel.
Really? Isn't that movie like universally panned?
Yeah, man, but it's his biggest money making movie of all time.
I would have never guessed that.
And then the next two are Grown Ups 1 and 2.
I was gonna guess that.
Yeah,
that was my other guess.
And those movies aren't even good. Like they're okay.
I never saw them.
They're like nothing movies. Like there's no acting going on in those movies. It's just them hanging out.
Well, that's like I want my friends to make it. It's like money laundering, right? Yeah. Like let's go launder some money. Let's put our friends in a movie.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Let's go.
I've heard the second one
to Hawaii or whatever.
I heard the second one's better than the first.
They're both fine. Like they're both totally watchable. But it's like they're dad movies.
I've never seen them. I mean, I would say this one. I said it before, but this one is. It might be one of my favorite Sandler movies besides the obvious ones of like, Happy Gilmore and stuff like that, right?
And this is next. After Grown Ups and after Pixel and after Hotel Transylvania's, this is next. So this is one of his biggest money-making movies of all time.
We might have said this on another show, but I feel like You Don't Mess with the Zohan. It's not a movie that you would say is good, but I secretly like that movie a lot. I think it's a stupidly funny movie, and it's a lot of fun.
Maybe it's a little culturally insensitive, but
sure. I really like Chuck and Larry, even though I know it's not something that probably could be made these days because it's obviously a little on the nose with it, but it does that in the end. It has a good message.
It has a good message. A lot of language in that you just can't say today, even in a joking way. Even in a wait 40 minutes, we'll get to the part where we redeem it.
It's a very long
shocking.
redemption.
Yeah.
So, and Deeds is always a fun movie too. Like obviously Waterboy's great. Like he has great movies. Great movies.
Underrated movie. That's my boy.
That is a very, very fun movie.
Yeah.
Like, see, I was sitting here thinking like, oh, Sandler, and it's like, but no, he's got great movies, and he plays sort of a goof, but they're fun, right? They're fun.
Yeah.
So this thing, man, I gotta tell you, like, I was looking up awards for this, and I was shocked to my core.
To your core.
This thing was nominated for an Oscar. I swear to God.
No. Well, for what?
So this is the part that
for
will
his fat suit.
No, yeah. So this is the part that will shock you. But best achievement in makeup.
Yeah, well,
it lost to Pan's Labyrinth and
course.
Apocalypto was the other nominee. But it's like Click, and I was looking up movies in 2006, 2007 Oscars, and like there wasn't a ton. But the other thing, best makeup. I mean, Kate Beckinsale, right? I mean, she looked amazing.
I mean, Kate Beckinsale.
I don't want to creep, but
Kate Beckinsale, allow me to creep if you will. Kate Beckinsale on her own, getting out of bed in the morning is a very beautiful woman. There's no denying that.
She doesn't need the extra help.
But the makeup artists in this movie, Kazuhiro, Bill Corso, and also I want to shout out Ellen Lutter, who is the costume designer of this movie. Like they turned a 10 into a 16, right? That's all I'll say.
She
like, was
her hair
on another
looked
level.
Incredible, and every phase of her life too.
She's in like pajamas in almost every scene of this movie.
Yeah,
and her hair looks like she just got out of the salon, or she's on her way to some gala. Like her hair is perfect, and she's got pajamas on. It's like, oh, well, this is me lounging around with my perfect hair.
It's funny though, like you see the Academy Award and the fact that they were nominated, and everyone's thinking like, oh, the fat suit and all this other stuff. I'm like thinking, no, Kate Beckinsale. Like just
no, it's Kate Beckinsale. That they made a 10, a 12.
And I thought
that's an achievement.
And to give them credit, like I actually thought that they did a good job, even when they made them look older. Like I've seen people in like old people makeup that looks so crappy. I thought they actually did a pretty good job in this, like the way they phased him through his life. So
I don't know. I thought the fat Sandler was a little weird looking.
I was thinking more like Rudy and
when they grade everyone, that was good. Yeah. His mom and dad old were good. Yes. Yeah. I agree.
There's a ton of other awards. We don't have to go through them, but I like the fact that this is Oscar nominated Click, but a couple of the other ones, the obvious heavy hitters here. It's an Adam Sandler movie, so of course you're going to have comedic performance for MTV Movie Awards, Kids' Choice Awards, favorite male star Adam Sandler, favorite movie. It didn't win; it lost to Pirates of the Caribbean. Teen Choice Awards, all kinds of stuff. Adam Sandler all over this place.
They don't even care about which movie it is.
It doesn't matter.
Adam Sandler, yeah, that's like,
and it doesn't matter, right?
Dare I say that the Kids' Choice Award is a farce? Dare I
yeah,
say?
I know,
right? Is it not a legitimate award, Drew?
Well, I thought the one that I thought was
the
interesting,
Teen Choice Award.
Yeah, like with the choice chemistry, Kate Beckinsale and Adam Sandler was kind of interesting to me. Hissy fit, all these
being
other
a dick
things.
the whole movie. What was the chemistry?
We don't have to spend any more time on it, but like I just thought it was worth mentioning. It should be called the Adam Sandler Awards.
The Nickelodeon Awards, Drew, is a farce. Is this not what I thought it was?
How many blimps does he have on his shelf right now in his house?
More
or moon men.
More moon men than one can count.
Yeah,
him and Jim Carrey.
yeah. Let's just jump right into this movie. Adam Sandler, man of the hour. Michael Newman himself.
Oh.
You alluded to it when you mentioned that he was kind of being a jerk to his wife the whole movie. Let's put this guy on trial during this episode. We could maybe bust out the bad father barometer. We could bust out the bad son barometer. We could maybe bad employee barometer. I don't even know, but like whatever it might be.
Model employee, Drew.
By the end of this show, I think we need to circle back and ask the question, is this guy redeemable?
Yeah.
So let's start with this thing. And I'm just going to ask you, like, is he a bad father? And why would you say that he is or is not?
Oh, yeah. The bad father barometer is just like, it's going off. I don't know if the barometers like go off. I don't know how they work. I don't know.
I think it's like, it gives you pressure.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Heath. I don't remember science class.
Shop.
There I was. No.
To the two people that listen,
the deepest
that know
of
this.
cuts. Jesus Christ.
The people that know that. Shop.
Yeah. No, but he'd be mad at me for not knowing the barometer. Yeah, Empty Promises out the ass, man. Half done treehouse, missing swim meets and activities, planning vacations and ducking them because he's got work to do. he even when he does a good job at work, he wakes the family up in the middle of the night to give them presents only when it's good on his time,
Dude,
not the kids' time.
as a father of a child, like you don't do that. That like
wake
you
kid up.
and he did it on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're happy when you finally like the kid goes to bed and either they're getting rest. Like you don't do that. You're gonna mess the whole schedule up. His wife would be pissed at him.
Oh yeah. Oh no, she got him a purse, so it's cool, right? It's cool.
Exactly.
No, this guy is very selfish from the very get-go, had no regard for his family's enjoyment and well-being. He's saying he's doing it for the kids. Give him a life I never had, which is a slap in the face to his very nice parents that we meet throughout the entire part of
They're
the
so
entire
nice.
movie. Yeah, slap in the face. Just because he didn't have a camper like the O'Doyles back on a camping day.
They had a great camping trip.
I don't like it. It reeks of bad father.
I do think that
We'll see.
you nailed it. I think the biggest thing for him is he's selfish. And the biggest thing that stood out to me was when he was in the middle of trying to do his work or whatever. The kids were having a sleepover after he arranged it so that he didn't even have to be part of this whole thing. His wife comes down and she's like folding laundry or something, and she needed 10 minutes of him to just watch the kids or watch something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she said, "Can you give me 10 minutes?" And he's like, "Oh man, I wish I had that time. I'm sitting here, I got to do my work." I'm like, dude, you could take a stretch break. You know, like he wasn't even doing work at that point. He was so selfish, man. And his wife was a saint. She did everything for him. She took care of the family, and he's like, he was using work as a crutch and an excuse, I think, to just avoid his family. I think that's what it was.
Okay, so he's clear he's a workaholic, and that's selfish if you're a family man, right?
Sure.
But do you think he loves his work because he's passionate to be an architect, or do you think he loves his work, or does he use work as an escape from the family life that he secretly doesn't like?
I think it's a validation thing. I don't know that he loves being an architect. I think he wants to get ahead because he has this like weird inferiority complex, like to your point.
We got to do better. Yeah.
And I also think it's another excuse for him to get away from his own family because he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
You saw it. He didn't want to sit at dinner and talk to them.
Yeah. Like I wonder if it's not just a workaholic thing. I wonder if it's a like my family bores me thing. Yes, he loves them, but you give him, hey, you could be at work or you can take the kids to the amusement park. What would you rather do? He'd probably rather be at work.
He'd be at work.
Because the amusement park thing seems like a chore to him. Right?
Yep. I agree. And it's also pretty clear look, there's nothing wrong with having professional aspirations. I think that's fine, right?
Sure.
You want to be a professional, you want to get ahead. That's a good thing, right? Like you're driven.
Yeah.
But I feel, puts his family life on the side because he has this thing that he wants to be partner. And it's good to have goals, right? It's good to have goals. His wife supports him, and you can see it. She was excited when she thought that he got it, and then he didn't, and all that other stuff, right? But it was like this thing where he needed this to validate himself, like, and he was constantly comparing himself to the O'Doyles. And maybe you see that with the flashback with the kids when they took him away to go to the other friend's camper's place or whatever when he was younger. Maybe that's where it stemmed from, but I do feel like he uses it as an excuse to avoid his family.
Yeah, and piggybacking off that onto his relationship with his wife and Kate Beckinsale, like, is this the man that she married, or is this all recent? Is it because he's on the cusp of becoming partner at his firm, or has he always been one to like throw himself at his work? You know what I mean? Like, has he been a family man in the past, and just recently in the last 6 months has he done this, or do you think that this has always been him, and this has just been a slow deterioration of him as a family man?
I think it's hard to tell because they don't tell us.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. What's your feel? Yeah,
I'd be shocked if he like just started doing this out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't just become this way. I don't know. It didn't seem that way.
And you know what? He's a very smooth talker, and like he always, all the arguments he gets in with his wife, he smooths over, right? But when he gets the remote, and when he's fast forwarding things, we learn that he's on quote unquote autopilot.
Yes.
He's not able to smooth over it with his wife because he's a grunting like ape pretty much. Yeah. So that's when we learn that he gets a separation. Well, first it's therapy and then separation and then flat out divorce, right?
Right.
So he's not able to Hey, baby, I'm sorry, baby. I got where you got to support me right now. I got work to do.
I just gotta get this partner.
I'm so close to partner. It's like, and she falls for it every time. And so it never deteriorates to this marriage sucks. But, as soon as the click starts working, the wife is not blinded by his sweet talk anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and isn't, we could talk more about this when we get into the clicking events and all that stuff, but just generally speaking, isn't clicking through all that stuff, like you have a personal remote for your life. Isn't that the most selfish thing possible? Like you are literally the center of the universe with that thing.
It's so true.
It is the most selfish possible thing that you could ever do. Yeah. And like, are there other consequences to you clicking for other people?
Yeah.
Because think about it, like he's clicking away and he's on autopilot at certain points. And we'll talk about the different events in a minute, but life is passing him by. He's sitting at dinner, like you said, grunting like an ape. The family, she says, "Oh, you want to pick out your dad's birthday present or whatever? We'll meet you at lunch." Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. And he's not paying attention to anybody, and because he can't wait to get to the next moment that he wants.
Yeah.
Like, forget everybody else. So I feel like when you look at this guy, he might be one of the biggest jerks we've ever talked about on this show when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
way more than other people.
He's front runner for Bad Father of the Year for the next award show, that's for sure.
We should villain scale him, man.
Yeah, for real. His hideout lair is his basement.
Yeah.
Where his protractor is.
Yeah. He might be, like, think about Roger's dad. Like, Roger's dad at least left him at, like, an orphanage. This guy, like, wasn't even there.
All right, so here's a hard-hitting question for you, right?
Yeah.
Is it worse to have a father who just leaves?
Like straight up gone? Or is it worse
just straight up gone? Or I'm not talking about I never met my father, because that's three examples.
All right.
What's worse? I never met my father, and not because he died, but because like he just left.
He was gone.
He's gone. He left. Yeah, he left you. So never had a father. Had a father, but he left me. Blew dirt in my face on his way out the door, like Roger's dad. Or have a father who's there, but is just not there emotionally for you and always disappointing you.
Man, I think I don't know, because I've not experienced this personally, so don't get mad at me if you have, and anyone that's listening. I think the third one, because it's almost like a spit in your face because he's there, but he's not there.
And I feel like it also like has the possibility to leave the kids with the complex later on in life of constantly needing approval from their father, which they never get.
And right? I'm not saying it's good if he blows dust in his face, but it's done. No. Like, he's gone.
I feel like you blow dust in your face, like that puts a chip on your shoulder to be better than that guy.
Okay.
Right? So that's actually a good thing. That's not a good thing. Obviously, the best thing is having a great dad. Let's clear that up.
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Guy motorcycles your face.
But when Roger gets the dirt blown in his face, that should create a chip on his shoulder to later in life to be better than that guy. And I feel like that happens more often than not.
But you're right. Like if for whatever reason, he's still around, it's bad.
I feel like the Sandler, like the Sandler and Click type of dad, is more likely to give your kid a complex of constantly needing approval, and it could give them some emotional problems down the line.
You talked about his parents being really nice and everything, right? What about him as a bad son? Because I feel like he never really appreciated what his mom and dad did for him. And maybe they're a little quirky. Maybe they're a little funny. Henry Winkler with the little coin trick and stuff. But that's what dads and grandpas do. I mean, that's their job, right? Yep. And they seem like good people that cared about him. And I feel like he never appreciated what they stood for or whatever. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. This also, like, this, I mean, this could be like too deep into the weeds, but like this is the example of like nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you have an alcoholic dad, then you also become an alcoholic. It's like apple falls far from the tree, that kind of thing. This loving home, dad, opposite of a workaholic, appreciate what you have. But this kid thinks he needs to provide for his family beyond what my dad gave me, when he obviously had a very happy life, growing up. It just goes to show that, like, no matter how you're parented, sometimes you get something stuck in your brain, you can go your own way,
Yeah, and I think, when you look at his parents, they did a good job. It's not like he had major issues, right? They were there for him. It seemed they took him on camping trips and stuff. It's not like they didn't have certain things. Like, I guess he wanted more, and I don't know. I'd be curious what he wanted.
Yeah,
but
they were all about family first. They tried to instill that in him, and it did not click. No pun intended.
What about one last question on him and his wife? Do you think that she stuck with him too long in the movie? Like, would you have been out? Like, if you were the spouse and he started doing all this stuff, and maybe we should save it for when we go for the events. But I something we should talk about when we get there, maybe.
Yeah, she stuck with him too long, but that's because, like I said, he's a smooth talker, right? She would have gone with him the whole way, I think, had he had his faculties.
Yeah,
to diffuse the situations.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about him being a workaholic and his boss, marvelously played by, man, I feel like we've had, I don't know how many episodes we've done so far this year, but we're going to have to really narrow down that guy award for the 2023 Last Row Awards, because there's so many guys I want to put on, and David Hasselhoff is pretty amazing in this.
A lot of stiff competition this year.
I mean, when you act like you get farted in the face by Adam Sandler's squatting ass in your face, he did a great job. I thought he was hilarious in this.
And to have the shit-eating grin that he has, like, to go along with, did I actually eat shit?
Yeah.
Like, this guy, underrated actor, really.
I was going to say, do you feel like Hasselhoff's underrated? Because I do. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, and like this type of comedy role where he's like I don't know, I guess the opposite of cheesy lifeguard, you know, where it's like overly earnest, good guy. Like, it's good to see him do this kind of role.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously famous for both Baywatch and Knight Rider. At this time, I don't recall whether he was in a bunch of other stuff or not, to be completely honest. I remember, he was in, what's that movie? The one Kung Fury, that was like that short movie. It was like 30 minutes, and he did the soundtrack, which was funny, but I don't know if he was in a bunch of other stuff at that time, but like I think he's very comedically underrated. And I used to watch Baywatch back in the day, and I thought he was good in that too. Like, I'm a fan.
Yeah, like he was kind of relegated to, hey, that's David Hasselhoff. Like, that's the joke.
It was a joke, right?
It's a joke where it's like he was in Dodgeball. He was the coach, the German coach, or a self-made cameo in The New Guy with that weird-looking kid,
right?
From Road Trip. But yeah, like he didn't get too many opportunities, especially during this time where it's like, well past the time of Baywatch, where he could have been used as some comedic relief for sure.
What about him as a boss? So he runs this joint, and I don't know that he actually architects anything. Maybe he was an architect back in the day, but he just runs this place, and I don't even know if he does that. He's just there. Like, what do you think he does?
He's like a deal closer, right? Like, when they show him in action, failing to close the deal, but he close. I think that's what he does, and I think that's what Sandler's striving to be, right? He's striving to be a deal closer, but being a deal closer means going out at night, and it means schmoozing clients, and it's still going to create these late hours to where you're really not doing anything during the day during your 9 to 5. But
that's why he wants it, man.
Yeah, you kind of have to be on at 6 p.m. and later to schmooze the clients.
Oh, how convenient! That's family time, isn't it? That's what he wants to do. And another thing I thought was interesting. So there's this weird. The whole dynamic is that he wants to become a partner. So he wants to be a partner in this firm. It's this architecture firm and all that stuff. Would you set up the CEO of this place with a lady that you knew that was annoying? Like, isn't that dangerous?
Like Stifler's mom?
He didn't like her. Yeah, Stifler's mom in the movie, he hates her.
I think it's clear to say that Hasselhoff's character in this movie is sex addict, I think, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. It kind of seemed like he was.
Yeah. So Sandler knew that Stifler's mom, sorry, I don't know her name, or her character name or her real name. Sorry. So
I think it was Janine, if I'm not mistaken, the Janine,
Janine sounds like Janine Stifler. I don't know.
Janine Melnitz.
Janine Melnitz. No. She will have sex with him immediately, right? And I think that's what Sandler knew, and I think that's what Sandler knew that he would like about her.
Okay.
So I don't think it was very risky.
And of course, before we move on from his work and Hasselhoff, you can't talk about a Sandler movie and not mention we got a Rob Schneider sighting here.
The elephant in the room. Oh my gosh.
Prince Abibu, right?
It's Abibu. It's fair for you to butcher it because they gave him such a racist name.
Yeah,
right?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. The brown face, fake nose. I mean,
absolutely ridiculous.
This is 2006.
Didn't age very well, did it?
Didn't at all. But like, you know what? God bless him, Rob Schneider. He tries. He'll throw his everything into whatever role that you give him.
Tried.
You know.
Oh, I lied. One other question for you. So when he had the remote and they were out with the Japanese businessmen and they were speaking in another language. I think they were speaking Japanese across the bar, and he used the translation for it.
Yeah.
If you're those guys, right? And they're talking about how terrible Hasselhoff and Sandler are, and they're talking about how boring they both are, blah, blah, blah. They don't want anything to do with these guys. And they say all this stuff. And they come back to the table, and Sandler all of a sudden turns it on and says everything that they said, like point by point, like what he wants.
Yeah.
Now, look, again, I know it's a dream. Spoiler alert. But if you're those guys, I'd be like, how'd you know what I said? I would almost be turned off by it, not like super excited.
No, man, it's kind of like, even if he did listen, he's still presenting it. This is what we'll do for you. Like, why won't you take exactly what you want? Why not?
Well, and the truth is, it sounded like that deal didn't even close that night anyway, right? Because it's like,
okay,
it was like a year later.
If you overheard your wife talking to like a friend or her mom or whoever and said, "Man, you know what? For my birthday, I would really love this one thing. I would give anything for it. Oh my gosh, like I don't want to, like, I feel bad buying it. I'd get it for myself, but I feel bad buying it." And you overheard that conversation, and then you got it for her, right? Is she gonna be mad at you?
No, but that's different because that's like not instantly the second that she walks back, leaves the phone, like, oh, I got this for you. Like, and because think about it. He's like, oh, we would love, we don't like this stupid fountain in here. Oh, and I want to leave this dumb dinner and I want to go to TGI Fridays and have Jello shots.
Little on the nose.
It was too much. Like, it was like, oh, hey, by the way, I was thinking about our deal and I don't think we need a fountain anymore. I want to maximize space, which is exactly what they said. And let's get out of here and go have some Jello shots. Like,
yeah, but it was Hasselhoff who was blowing the deal.
True.
Right? And they didn't, like, Sandler wasn't really speaking much yet.
True.
So maybe they're like, oh, this guy gets us.
He gets it.
This guy's one of us. He knows.
He gets it.
He knows TGIs. He knows.
I thought it was ridiculous. So I'd have canceled the deal right then and there. But hey, maybe they get some free Jello shots.
See, that's why you're forever tortured, man. You're going to cancel the deal because there's a guy giving you exactly what you want. You're going to cancel the deal out of spite.
That's right. Do they sell Jello shots at TGI Fridays? Can you get that there?
I don't think anyone sells Jello shots.
Yeah.
Homemade. Unless you go to like some club in Miami, maybe they sell Jello shots. I don't know.
Or some random. I'm thinking about college. Remember those test tube shots? It's basically like syrup. Right. It's like nothing.
Yeah, it's alcohol. It's grain alcohol and Jolly Ranchers ground down to liquid, basically.
Melted Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
Man, like thinking back on that, this thing's terrible.
What were we drinking? I don't know what the hell it was. I don't even know what we were drinking.
I don't know.
They were cheap and they got you drunk. What are you gonna
do? Yeah. There you go.
What are you gonna do?
Oh man, yeah. Speaking of the remote, would you go back to that moment of your life back at the whatever it's called those days, cell block?
Cell block, yeah. Let's get into this remote, baby.
Yeah, let's talk about the remote here. So, Morty, played by Christopher Walken, gives this dude exactly what he needs. It's a universal remote. Have you ever had one of those? Have you ever had a universal remote?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in like the 90s, it was like a requirement.
It's a necessity.
The cable box remote was always crappy. The buttons were too small, or they didn't do what you wanted them to do. But in this day and age of 2006, I felt like it was a luxury and not a necessity.
Yeah, like I do use multiple remotes right now, but I don't. It doesn't bother me. I don't know because I feel like a universal, and I'm talking like, remember the Logitech ones where you'd plug it into your computer and you'd like program it, and it would basically run different IR commands.
Right.
Like it feels cool, but you have to keep it pointed, and then it just didn't work right all the time. Like the idea of it for me was better than the execution of it. Like now it's just easier. I have the Chromecast remote, and then I got the other TV remote, and I use them both.
And you know what? It takes 2 seconds to learn. And I feel like if there's like an age gap of like, if you were born before a certain date, like this type of thing might forever confuse you. Like Adam Sandler in this movie might be like a late 30s, early 40s guy, just like us. But since he was, a 70s baby, right?
Right.
I feel like that age group might be more apt to be confused by which remote works the TV, which remote works the fan, which remote works the garage. Yeah. Whereas we were born into like better technology. Yeah. So it's more natural to us. It's kind of like how your daughter knew how to use an iPad at age 2, probably, right? It's like because she was born with it, It's just wild to me. And I don't know. I feel like they're never as, I mean, look, I guess technically even a Chromecast remote, you could say it's a universal remote because it turns your TV on if you program it right. Sure.
But generally speaking, you don't need 10 remotes right now. You got a couple, and one or two is fine. But this thing is magic, right? I mean, how does this work? Like, what are the basics of how this thing operates?
Well, time travel must be a part of it, right? I mean,
how do they program that?
Magic beans? I don't know. This is a ridiculous question.
What's the 4-digit code for time travel? Remember that? You have to like program it.
0048. 00049 is just do your fan. 0048 is the click remote.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think maybe the way to do this is to talk about the different things that he clicked through and what happened to his life. So whether he was right or wrong to click through this, would you click through it? And maybe we could kind of go through some of these and see what it is, because he uses it, as we mentioned way earlier, to be selfish and to get through some of these moments that he just doesn't like. It's like discomfort or whatever. And it kind of takes a life out of its own. But let's maybe start with some of these things that he started doing. The first being he's trying to do his work and the dog's barking. Would you think he was right to do it, to volume it or whatever? And
mute the dog.
Would you do it?
Do it. Mute the dog. Shut up, dog. You kidding me?
What if the dog was sick? What if he was hurt?
The dog can, you can look at a dog and see if he's bad, if he's doing bad. The dog doesn't bark when he's sick.
I don't know.
Does he? I don't know. Maybe
I
he
don't
does.
know. Maybe he had to go to the bathroom. Maybe there was someone robbing his house and he's muting the thing. So
the dog clearly the dog had to take a shit, but
murder his family.
Yeah. But if you mute the dog until he shits in the house, then you're gonna be mad at the dog for shitting in the house.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's what the dog should have done. Should have crapped right on his desk right there. That's what he should have done.
No, but he muted the dog and then he fast forwarded when he took him out to take a shit, which I totally get too.
I get that.
The dog's putzing around, not shitting. You want to get him in the house as quickly as possible, especially if it's cold outside. I totally get it. This is not a bad click situation. This is a good click situation.
Man, I remember when we had our dog back in the day, like I remember standing out in the coldest weather because we didn't have a fence. Yeah. So you're standing out there and you're waiting and you're like, man, please go. Please
all
go.
All you can do, you have one move and it's Max.
Yeah.
Max.
Please go.
Max. Come on, Max. And like the dog could care less.
But it's like you feel bad too because you can't just go on command. You got to find the right spot. Like think about you as a person, right? You have to wait. You're not like just going to be able to go on command.
I can go on command.
You do?
If I got a shit.
There you go. You go right now.
It's not a problem.
All right. What about Janine or Stifler's mom, as you wrote in the notes here? She was having like an emotional moment because he said something pretty mean to her, actually.
Yeah,
very selfishly.
She's Kate Beckinsale's best friend, I guess. And he was giving her crap, and then she started yelling at him. So she just, he muted her, or did he fast forward? I forget what he did.
He muted her.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, we don't need some crazy lady yelling at you at 6 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to get ready for work.
He did instigate it. He did instigate it.
He did, but what's she doing there so early? Get out of here. Am I at your house at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday?
No. If you want to be, you can, but
thanks for the invite. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to be, you can come at breakfast.
But I'm not gonna be, throwing shots at your wife. Like she was antagonizing him a little bit. And he threw a rock at a pillow fight. He did.
I guess they've been doing this for how many years they've been married. So even before they were married, because she saw her at the bar when he was dating. But I don't know. Maybe I don't blame him for muting that. But he was he was kind of a jerk about it. So I think that's fine. Yeah. The worst one to me of these so far is the family dinner. Right? They were just having dinner. Like he just zombied his way through this thing.
Yeah, he totally did. And like he thought of it as so here's the thing. Whether you click your way through it or you just endure it, and live through it, it's the same amount of time. It's not like
Right.
he's saving time, right?
I mean, he doesn't have to experience it, which makes him a jerk.
Okay, maybe his fatigue is higher, his
Okay.
stamina. So like, if it was a video game, like his stamina is still high, right?
Yeah. He didn't use his turbo.
So maybe that's a good thing.
But what about
other than that, like the time is not being saved.
Yeah, but what about the whole like aspect of it? So the time isn't saved, but like what's what we were saying before, right? He's selfish because he gets to not experience it at all. So for him, it's like the time, it doesn't matter. But it should matter because still got to do work. He's got to get the work done.
It's still midnight when he goes down there.
Right. But to him, it's like, well, I didn't have to sit through that dinner.
Yeah.
And that's why I think he's a jerk for it, because he didn't want to spend time with his parents and his family. He just wanted to get back to work. He just wanted to not experience it. And is it so bad? They had a nice meal. His wife made a nice dinner. He got to spend time with his kids and his family. But he was like, I can't think about anything else but my work. And that's why I think he's a jerk. And that one, he's wrong, in my opinion, to click through it.
I can't. Like, I'll try to defend him, but I can't even. Like,
There's no.
If I could, I would, but I can't.
There's no defending on that.
Yeah.
So, and then we get to the one where he was arguing with his wife over helping with the kids. She said something about, I just need 10 minutes, like we said before. And there was this whole thing about, oh, I wish I had 10 minutes. I wish I had time. And she's like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm always doing this stuff for the house. I'm always doing things for you. Like, you can't give me 10 minutes? And he still didn't even budge.
Yep.
And then he muted her. Or fast forwarded it, right? I think he muted her, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. He muted, then fast forwarded. Then he fast forwarded through the whole fight.
Double whammy.
Yeah. Which, by the way, after that, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm remembering this movie correctly, didn't he go upstairs and apologize, and then they had
he
sex?
tried to sleep with her, yeah.
And then, no, he didn't try. He succeeded. So
That's
this
true.
man is an all-time like smooth talker, right?
Which is messed up. I think because he said, "Oh, you were right," whatever. Like, and she said, "I don't want to argue," which she seems like a really nice person, doesn't she? Like, way too good for him.
Yeah, like he's very lucky to have her. Yeah.
He's way too selfish. And you're right, though. He fast forwarded through the fight, and look, fighting sucks. You don't want to fight with anybody. You don't want to fight with your friends. You don't want to fight with your partner or whatever. It happens. But he instigated it, and he should have accepted the consequences. So I personally think he's a jerk for clicking through this one too.
Yep, absolutely. I can't argue that. So so we segue to him making up, and she's ready to go. Like she's like, this is great. Like let's have makeup sex, love making with the wife, right? It's a good thing. But she has the audacity to ask for a massage first.
How dare her?
He wants no part of. Oh, no way.
Dude, he's a jerk. I'm sorry.
This guy is, we said at the beginning, he's a very selfish man. This proves it right here. He's fast forwarding the sweet lovemaking because he didn't want to do a little shoulder rub.
That's ridiculous in my opinion. Like, come on, man.
So now, if we're tallying, so since this remote goes on autopilot every time he does something, every time there's a family dinner, it's going to be fast forwarded. Every time there's an argument, it's going to be fast forwarded. And every time there's lovemaking to be had, it will be fast forwarded.
Yes.
I think he screwed up.
You think? But I guess at this point, he doesn't know what he's doing, right? Because he thinks, in fairness to him, he thinks it's just one time, right? Like, I'll just get through this time. I'll just get through this time.
Yeah.
And that's when things start to get a little bit dicey for him, because it starts to learn his techniques or whatever, and he's screwed up big time.
Yeah, his priorities, I should say. Yeah.
Well, then he started to feel sick, right? He was, by the way, I've never seen a guy like drink as much cold medicine as him and not wind up, hallucinating on the side of the floor, like a highway or something.
Yeah.
Like, talk about robo tripping, man. He was absolutely like drunk on this stuff.
Well,
but
this is probably sick. He passed out at the Bed Bath & Beyond. That's probably why.
That's probably what happened, right?
He's super high on Tylenol cold medicine.
That's exactly. He's chugging the bottle. Yeah. But he fast forwards through his cold and he wakes up and he's like, "Oh, this is great." But think about that. Yeah, being sick sucks. But when you fast forward through that, I mean, that's like a week.
It's a gamble. It is a gamble.
You don't know how long that's going to be.
You could be better the next day. You could be sick forever.
That's the thing, man. Yeah. Like, I think that's where I personally would be like, I'm not sure whether I want to do this. Like, I wish I would feel better. Now, maybe if you get like, let's say you got COVID or you got the flu or something, or you're like really out, maybe you want to skip through that.
Stomach bug where it's like, okay, maximum 3 days.
But a cold, Maybe a stomach bug I would do it because you don't want
Yeah.
to feel that. But just like a
No.
basic baby cold,
Yeah.
get out of here, buddy.
Yeah. What if you broke your leg?
Oh
and
man,
it sucked. It's like, did you click through that?
I don't.
Like, could be a couple
Maybe
months.
you would,
But it's
think
like you don't have
about
to
it.
experience the broken leg.
But I think that's where you start to think about all the other things that you would miss.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not just the broken leg. I guess, but again, I guess you're so selfish. If you're him, he broke his leg. He doesn't
Yeah.
care about any of this stuff. My leg hurts. I want to get better. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care about being there for my family. I don't care about whatever. I mean, again, in fairness to him, he didn't really understand how it worked at that time.
True. Yeah.
So I don't know that I would do it. Like, it's a long time, I feel.
I'm gonna mark this as I'm not gonna blame him for clicking through
All
his
right.
cold.
I mean, it's fair. I wouldn't do it, but I think
Yeah.
it's fair to do it.
Yep.
And then how about the next one where he's getting ready? We can maybe combine these two, but he's getting ready in the morning for a shower because he didn't have time, right? So he just felt like it was a waste of time. But again, to your point, like taking a shower could be like a relaxing experience.
Yeah. Like and it's not saving time.
It's not saving time.
It's just fast forwarding. So it's like he's at the dinner table. He doesn't feel like taking a shower that day. I don't know. The shower is a nice thing.
Yeah.
You know,
relax a little bit.
helps you wake
right?
up. Yeah.
Exactly. I would not fast forward the shower. I think it's
No,
dumb.
it's a bad mood fast forward the shower.
And then sitting in traffic, which driving into Manhattan, yeah, I'm going to fast forward that every single time. Like, we're not far from New York. You drive to New York,
No,
that sucks.
I have a 15 to 20 minute commute, which could turn into 40 plus on any given day into an hour, and I would skip it every day if I could. So
I agree with that.
No problem. But my question is that you're clicking through this, right? You're on autopilot as Walken describes. What if you get into an accident and die during the click?
I guess it's like dying in your sleep, right?
Yeah, is that a good thing? Like, would you rather because I don't think it'll affect one way or another if you survive the accident or not. Because it's going to happen one way or the other.
Yeah, you're dead whether it happens or not.
Like if you hit that click button when you step in the car, this could be it. Like every time, this could be it.
That's true, especially driving there. That's not an easy drive there. You drive in some danger there.
Yeah.
That's true. But I guess I'd rather die during the click than die in a fiery wreck.
Right, it's true. So that doesn't give you any pause to the click through traffic. Like you're pressing that button, you might never.
You don't come out the other side.
But you don't know. But you don't know.
Maybe it's better that way. I don't know. I'd rather die that way. I feel.
Yeah.
So I can't blame him. I can't blame him for clicking through traffic. I think that's an okay click scenario.
It's fair. I would definitely do it.
And then what about, I don't know how we talk about this, but he gets into a situation with his wife where he can't remember their first kiss song. And he uses the recall or the previous channel or whatever the heck the feature is on this thing to go back and see the song at the bar, which was a great scene, by the way. I thought it was great.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Like, how do you feel about cheating on a test, Drew? Like, would you cheat on a test?
I feel like you shouldn't. I can't blame people that have. It depends on the severity of it.
He's cheating on the test right now.
He did cheat on the test.
Yeah. So,
but
I mean,
does it surprise you that he cheated on the test on this one?
No, but it's furthering the charade that is his marriage.
His marriage is a sham. It is.
Come on.
That's what I mean.
We all knew it was linger. We weren't there and we knew it was linger.
Yeah, we knew it was linger. And I feel like, again, I don't believe this relationship because there's no way he just overnight became this guy that didn't remember these things and was shirking his family duties because he wants to get the partner. Like, this has had to be going on for a while. And I feel like this is a violation and I don't know. I think it's messed up.
No, but having said all of that, I would have done it.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
I mean, it's positive to me.
It's a violation.
You have to do it.
But you got to do it.
You got to do it. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anyone.
She doesn't know.
If he doesn't remember and doesn't cheat on the test, it just makes her feel bad.
That's true.
Why would you want her to feel bad?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to drop out you want to get flunked out of school?
Yeah. You have the ability to make her feel good. Why would you choose bad over good?
That's it. Look at you.
All you're doing is you're messing with your own internal morals, which are your own. Punish yourself. Don't punish her.
Yeah, he should feel bad about it, but he should do it anyway.
Yes, exactly.
and he should feel bad about it.
And he should feel bad about it. But it's a good thing to do.
That should be a lesson to him of I better not forget this again.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good with that. What about I love how you wrote this in notes. You read it. You take this one.
So his next remote move is to smack and fart in his boss's face.
Would you
when he
say
realizes
fart,
he's not partner.
or would you say like unleash the beast on him?
It was a dangerous fart, to say the very least.
Like he should have done the tap test, make sure
Yeah.
the pants don't stick.
Yeah, that was blow it out. Blow it out your ass for sure.
Let's get a hole in his pants after that one.
Would you do this? Would you do this? I'm not saying to your current boss because we all know he's a great guy.
I would not do that because I feel like
would you have done it to your movie theater boss?
Yeah,
back in the day.
I don't think so because like I don't know. I feel like I would. First off, I don't know who can do that on command either. That's another one where it's like doing that. I think
it was a product of opportunity. Like, yeah, might as well.
You're like out of here. Yeah. I don't think that you should do that. I could see people doing it. I wouldn't blame them, especially to this guy. But I feel like I couldn't do it. I don't know. I couldn't morally do it.
It's not just this scene. There were multiple scenes of him just like violently hurting people.
Yes.
While they're paused.
Kicking people in the nuts.
So it's like, is this a move you would like resort to?
No.
To your enemies?
I would not.
Like, say your enemies are just hanging out. It's like you wouldn't like pause real quick and like kick him in the balls and then.
An enemy, but like, is the boss really that bad to him? Like, he's not great, but like.
He's being a boss. It's like, you know what? Tough noogies, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Sucks, but he runs the place. He's the CEO.
Yeah. You know what? Be better if you're going to be a partner. You know, work
what about
harder. Desert your family.
What about the other guys? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. What are we saying? Are we saying this is bad? I mean,
I wouldn't do it, but I
wouldn't hit anybody. I wouldn't hit anybody in the face. I don't care how mad you are. You know,
I think it's a violation. I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it.
Yeah. All right. So he's pissed off about not getting a promotion. So he decides, you know what? I'm just going to fast forward until I get my promotion, thinking it's going to be all right, maybe a month.
Yeah.
I just got to bang out this drawing real quick and close the deal, and then I'll be partner. Cut to a year later.
Man.
He lost a year.
Amber's a jerk.
Yeah.
But it's like, because he thought he was going to get it after he closed that deal when they just had dinner. But then I guess they needed to do more stuff there. He didn't get it. Like, was it worth it to click forward a year? Do you think that was worth it to him? Like, I know he lost a lot, but he was happy.
Like we said, like he's such a smooth talker to his wife. We learned that in the year that he missed, they're now in marriage therapy.
Yeah, counseling.
So it's like, this is probably would not have happened had he been around for that to be able to like talk her out of it, right?
I wonder I wonder maybe it would have happened eventually because of all the stuff that he was doing. Yeah. But like, man, the marriage was definitely on the downswing. Yeah.
Just imagine you just lost a year of your daughter's life. Like, she's as of recording, she's almost 7.
Yeah,
and then like you snap your fingers, and all of a sudden you wake up the next day and she's 8. Like, wouldn't it devastate you?
Yes, it would be devastating. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I got a promotion, so that makes it worth it. Yeah. Like, again, that proves that he's not a good person because he doesn't really like. Honestly, he doesn't really care about his kids. He really doesn't. Like, when you see this, he really doesn't care about them.
Like, he was upset about it in the moment for an instant once he realized that they were a year older, but like it was
He's like, oh, but I got my partner thing. And then the next day, he got an even higher promotion too, right?
He was more upset about the dog than the kids.
Right, which I would be upset about the dog too, but like the kids, he didn't. And that's the proof, like, he takes his family for granted. He takes his parents for granted. Like, he takes everything for granted because he just thinks, oh, well, they're just going to be there. Like, they're sort of accessories to his life. And I think he's a jerk.
Yep.
I think he's a complete jerk.
And then it rolls right into promotion number 2. So his first day, the next night, rolls into his office, and Hasselhoff starts talking to him about, one day you're going to be CEO, and the remote hears that and goes, oh, he likes to click to his next promotion.
Yeah.
Boom, there he goes to his next promotion 10 years later.
10 years, man.
10 years later, he's divorced. He's 400 pounds. His son is now Jonah Hill. How do you feel?
How do you feel? I feel like it was definitely not worth it. And I think this is when he starts to realize it because it's his major changes to his family, including his wife, right? Like you said, he's divorced.
Yeah.
With Rudy is now his wife's or his ex-wife's husband now, and they're married.
Yeah, so his son's former swim coach, who wears a Speedo.
Yeah,
which it's a funny joke. Guy wearing a Speedo, ha ha ha! How European of him. But how appropriate is it for a 6-year-old's swim coach to wear a like very skimpy bikini bottom
At the pool,
male or female,
under
male or
his
female.
pants.
No, at the pool, like as
Yeah.
a coach.
I don't know.
It's inna, Drew.
It's
It's
highly
inappropriate. It's
inna.
highly inna.
It's in,
Especially as a male teacher
what do they call
of
it?
young
Banana
children,
hammock?
you don't need to see the bulge. You don't need to see it.
Yeah.
I
He's
would
not wearing
argue.
it for them.
I would argue it's inna for a female swim instructor to wear a bikini, right?
It's like
I don't
super
know.
sexy one.
Yeah, like a skimpy bikini, because that's the equivalent of that's a skimpy bathing suit.
That's
That
true.
banana hammock. He's wearing a banana hammock
You know, he was trying to get Donna. That's what he's trying to do. Probably.
at the
That's
expense of the innocence of the 6-year-olds.
So, are you saying that he's secretly a villain in this movie?
I mean, he's a predator, is what he is.
Yeah, you know, I mean, jokes aside, he actually seemed like a pretty nice guy. Like he was
Oh, of
encouraging
course.
the kid and all that stuff. And I don't blame her for marrying this guy.
He's responsible for the son
success.
being a success
Yeah,
because he probably showered the kid with positivity.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I know in Stranger Things, obviously Sean Astin was a great character in that too. It was like such a good character. This, he reminded me of a really good guy too. Like I know he's in was it 51st Dates, and he's sort of like the
Yeah.
weird brother.
Yep.
But I liked him in this. Like he was actually really positive. I know he got a lot of crap from Sandler, but Sandler's a complete jerk. This guy's
Yep.
a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
You know what? The second husband is always a nice guy.
Yeah.
Always.
Because they know what they don't want,
They
right?
know what they don't want, and they know what they had.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to say, Drew.
Yeah, but
There's a better
My
there's
wife-
there's a better guy out there.
There's a
than you.
better guy out
There
there.
is. There just is. Even if you're the best guy, there's
Yeah.
a better guy. There's
There's always someone
there's always
better.
one better. There's always one better.
I'll
Sorry.
let my wife know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll let my wife know.
Yep.
Oh man. What so after this, he goes even further, right? Like 6 years later, and now he's got a heart condition. He's got
Yep.
because he bangs
Hey.
his head in the fight.
Yeah. And hey, like the remote knows he doesn't like he likes to skip sickness.
Skips the whole thing.
Yeah, skip the cancer and the heart attack. Geez, back to back.
Do you think it would like if he would he rather die than be in that scenario? Like I guess he wouldn't because he didn't get to make amends.
No, yeah, you want to make amends. You have to make amends.
Which is the saddest part of the whole movie. Him and Henry Winkler, man.
Oh,
This
God.
got me hard. This
This
got me
bad.
real hard.
Realized that he missed his dad's death. So he has this like weird scene with his son. Son says, "Oh man, I'm sorry to say, but you know, you mentioned Pop. Pop died a long time ago." So he clicks back to the last day that he saw him, which he was clicking through at the time. So he's on autopilot, and it's the poor feeble Henry Winkler in award-winning prosthetics.
Yeah. Oscar.
Yes.
Oscar.
Yeah. Dude, trying to do the quarter trick, you know, saying, "Hey, let's go out for a boys' night out, me, you, and Ben, the kid. Let's do it. Let's do it for old time's sake." Can't be bothered. Yells at the poor old man. I forget what he called him. He called him
him
something.
pathetic.
He called him pathetic.
Just like it's
then-
ridiculous.
God bless Henry Winkler's character. He said, "All right, sorry to barge in." And he waited till he turned to start weeping.
He said, "I love you, son."
"I love you, son." Started weeping. Just so he couldn't give the son the satisfaction of seeing him
Man.
cry.
Dude, I'll tell you, like Winkler, give the man an award. Like
Yeah.
he was great there. I thought
Yeah.
he was really good.
Yep.
And what a jerk. So here's the thing. Is that how autopilot works? It knows that he's a jerk, so it even got jerk responses now. It's not
Yeah,
even just like
probably built
caveman
in.
responses.
Yeah.
Now it's built in. He called him
Yeah.
pathetic. Just
Yep.
let me read my email. And
Yeah.
all this other garbage he was
Yep.
saying.
Or like every argument with his wife that eventually led to divorce was,
Yeah.
"I'm doing it for the family.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we didn't see
Get
any
off
of
my
that.
back."
We didn't see any of that
Yeah.
because it was all in
Yeah.
autopilot.
Yep. There you go.
But I felt like that was a heart-wrenching moment was that. And
Yep.
and ultimately, right, he has a heart attack and he winds up dying. But like
He's dead.
I know before he gets a do-over here, was it worth it? Was it
No,
worth it for him to do this?
Well, clearly not. I mean, that's what the movie exists for, is to show you that, hey, don't click your life away, right? But it goes to show you that he chose work over
Every
family.
time.
Yeah, he chose work over family.
Every
And it's-
time.
It's just crazy that you wouldn't just skip the work part and do the fun stuff. But like to him, that was the fun stuff. And he can sugarcoat all he wants. He can wake up all he wants and have a new lease on life and say, "Hey, oh, it was all a dream. Now I get to do all the fun stuff. I learned from my mistakes. But did he?
No, he
Do you
didn't.
think he did?
I gotta be honest with you. Like, I think he's just gonna fall into bad habits. You don't
Yeah.
just change because you had this moment. It's, I mean, I know it's a Bob Cratchit thing or whatever the heck it's
Yeah.
called, or what's his name from Scrooged, right? Scrooged and all of that other stuff
Right.
and
Yeah.
whatever. But like, is he fundamentally gonna be a different person? How long before he starts going back into old habits again? Like, yeah, they're gonna go on their 4th of July camping trip, but come on,
Yeah.
he's
But
still the same person.
Here's the thing, like the type of boss that Hasselhoff is, right? He tells him he's got to work on the deal,
Over
and
the
then he
weekend.
says, "Hey, go screw yourself. I got a vacation." He's gonna demote him
Yeah.
or fire him.
Which that job's not gonna be. It's not gonna be a long term fit for him if he wants
Yeah.
to be with his family.
So yeah, he has to be okay with leaving that company. And I don't when the thought of the firing or the demotion versus he almost was partner and now he's going back to the mailroom, right? As he said,
Yeah,
like he's gonna have to weigh with that. And like, do I really? I mean, all right, I'll do the work for the Japanese corporation. I'll do the hotel, right? But after that, I'll be a family man. There's always he'll move the goalpost again
it's
and
always
again and
the
again.
next thing.
It's always the next thing.
That's
Yeah.
why I don't think that. Yeah, he gets a do over, and who wouldn't want that, right? Like,
Right.
even watching this movie, I'm thinking, like, man, what do I do that's kind of like this guy? Like, I think about that a lot. Are the
Yeah.
things that I need to do better? And that's what I liked about the movie, because it makes you kind of sort of think about some of those
Yeah.
things, and you reflect.
Yeah.
And just like him, right? You wake up and you're like, man, I'm
So-
not doing that again.
So is this like the equivalent of like getting an intervention? It's like a large
It
intervention.
is. It
and,
is.
and it doesn't always work, right?
No.
I mean, you can see the area or ways, but still not be able to kick out of them. And I
Right.
feel like and I think you're with me, he's so deep into this. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before Hasselback. For Matt Hasselback.
Tim or Matt.
Tim or Matt, either one.
Which one?
Hasselhoff gets on his case about, hey, buddy, you're close to being partner. Like, you're gonna like we're let's do this.
You got
the
potential
deal's
here,
the deal's
man.
right there. Just go for it. Grab the brass ring. It's right there.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna go all out for it.
Well,
The second that O'Doyle kid starts rubbing more shit in his face,
yes.
he's gonna be like, okay, all right.
Look, and don't get me wrong. Like, again, I said it in the beginning. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a job that you care about and whatnot and all that. But he was not making the right choices 100% of the time. Like, sometimes you are going to have to work hard and for your family and all that stuff, and that's fair, right? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think anyone would argue against it. But it was more than a pattern. It was who he was. He didn't really want to be with his family, and maybe this changed his mind. Maybe it did. But I personally believe that it's a short-term fix.
Yeah, it's
I don't think it's.
yeah. Could be
I just
short-term.
don't think that he's gonna
Yeah.
be a changed man over this whole thing.
So the character we saw. So let's circle back to our question of the episode. Is he redeemable? Putting him on trial here. Bad father, bad husband. Is it just what we saw in the fantasy world of the remote, or is he going to fall back into old habits and ultimately be that bad father, bad husband going forward?
I think he's gonna be a bad father, bad husband, like
Yeah.
starting the next couple weeks.
Oh man, it's a sad story. It's a sad story for Michael here. I wish I could disagree with you, but yeah, I feel like this is who he is. And I feel like it's like an alcoholic getting an intervention, and you can't force someone to go to rehab. They've gotta want to do it. And just because this little flash of the fact this was all like a dream, does a dream change your life?
No, I
It
mean
doesn't. It usually doesn't, right?
it gives you. Now maybe you have a near-death experience.
It can
that's
scare
different.
you. It can scare you for the next hour you're awake,
Yeah.
right? But once reality sets back in, the dream's a dream, and reality sets back in the minute he steps foot in his office again. He might take the kids to vacation immediately, but his first day of work after
That's what I mean.
is the chain where it starts again.
That's what I mean, because
yeah.
it's yes, and you could say, okay, hey, let's say you have a heart attack. Okay, let's say you have a heart attack tomorrow, or I have a
Yeah.
heart attack tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, I eat really poorly.
Yep.
So I have a heart attack. Now I'm going to start eating better.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's different because you almost died, and maybe he did because he almost
Yeah.
died here. It's a
Yeah.
near death experience. So maybe it,
Yeah.
it is because he saw
Yeah.
his whole life. But I still think, hey man, that's a long time away. I
Yeah.
still got some time to make partner. I'm not going to make the same mistakes that I
Sure.
did with that remote.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'll just work it a little bit later here. I'll just do that.
Yep.
I just
And-
don't believe it.
And it's not going to be an exact 1-for-1 like future, because he's going to be able to smooth talk his wife, and they're not going to get a divorce, at least not in the same time frame. So there's not going to be Rudy is there. You know, he probably isn't going to become 400 pounds because he'll probably realize, all right, you know, I am going to have a heart attack, and if I don't do this and that, the other thing. But it's going to be a slower progression, but the timeline's still going to start to go. It's going to be like,
yes,
yeah, it's like fate. It's like fate. And I don't think his dream is this intervention that will fix it.
Well, and the other thing I would say to sort of back up our points here is there wasn't a moment where you saw him struggling of, you know, I'm thinking the Larry David gif where he's like, oh, do I do this? Do I do that?
This or that.
Like, there wasn't a moment where he's like, man, I really want to go to my son's meet, but I can't go because I got to do this thing for work. It was like, psh, I'm not going to that thing. I got to go do this project.
He actually said those words. But his wife reminded him, he goes, I got to go to that?
I don't want to go to that.
I got to go to that,
That's
he said.
What I'm saying. Like, if there was a moment or like, oh man, I wish I could go on this camping trip. I really want to go. I've been planning it all year.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to go. Oh crap. Now I got to close out the, you know, whatever the deal was for this hotel. Oh man, there was no struggle. There was never a situation where he was like, I wish I could do this, but I've got to do that. It was, I can't wait to do this. I don't want to spend time with my family. And that's why I don't think, you know, a trip through the future in a dream in Bed Bath Beyond passed out from Robitussin is going to change your mind. I just don't. I'm sorry. Like, I think he's a complete jerk. I don't think that
a Robitussin infused hallucination is not going to change your life.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, and I think that's the moral of this whole story. Like, he took some cold medicine and passed out on a bed while Nick Swardson watched him.
What a sad, silly movie this is.
But I love it. It's a great movie. It changed my life. Like, I'm thinking about it differently, but you know, when I have to choose between work and family stuff, I'm struggling. It's like, oh, I want to do this, but I got to do that. I don't think he cared.
It's like this movie and Liar Liar are the two movies where it's like, if you're a bad dad, get your shit together.
Yes. I agree. But I mean, am I wrong to say that it didn't seem like he really cared? Like
No.
I don't think that this is going to change him fundamentally.
Fletcher in Liar Liar cared at the end.
Yeah.
He didn't at first, but he realized, like, he learned a lesson at the end.
Like, I don't know that he really. I don't think Adam Sandler learned this lesson.
I don't think Adam Sandler learned the lesson. No,
I don't know.
No, you're right. He was doped up on the tussin.
Yeah,
and that fades.
All right, so maybe it's safe to say that he might be the biggest jerk in Last Row history, but I'll still say that this is secretly one of my favorite movies. I love watching this. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I was happy that we got a chance to watch this again.
Yeah,
and
it holds up.
It's good in the rotation.
You don't think of it as a Sandler classic, but it certainly is. It's up there.
Well, I don't know if you guys like this movie as much as we do. I'm curious where people think it stands up and holds up in the Sandler pantheon. I don't know if it's as good as The Wedding Singer, episode 99. Go back and check that one out. I'm sure we'll do some more Sandler movies in the future, but if you guys enjoyed this show, send us an email, thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com. Leave a comment on the episodes page at thelastrowpodcast.com. Tweet at us, leave a comment on the Facebook page, hit us up on Instagram at thelastrowpod. And if you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing if you're new on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. And we'll be back in 2 weeks on Thursday, June 22nd with a new episode for you guys. And on that note, see you then.
Woo.
Woo.
Yo, Drew, if I had the clicker remote, I would not click through our episode recordings. I feel like maybe you would sometimes.
I was just going to ask you, how many people click through this whole episode right now?
As long as we got the listen and the download.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.